WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. We must be on Radio Row. I must be wearing my Maryland Lottery mask because my glasses are fogged up. I'm getting old. This guy's getting younger, though, man. Like, I've known this guy for, like, going on a quarter of a century. We don't see each other much. He is still, like, doing things, and I'm going to find out. But the minute I heard his voice behind me, sipping on coffee as we were setting up here on Radio Row, I would love to imitate you, and I probably could, but it's a little late in the day for that because you have the early morning voice. The great Scott Ferrall on the bench, friend, and my friend Lou Pellegrino was your longtime producer.
Right.
We have all of these connections. What are you doing, dude? You're with Sports Grid.
I was tripping, trying to figure out when the last time I saw you, Nestor, honestly, because I think it was in L.A. like 20 years ago, literally. But, I mean, I've always followed you and knew what you were up to in the Charm City. Because I was on there for so long.
So 20 years ago, was this like when they had the fight at the Staples Center, like Sugar Shane Mosley and De La Hoya?
Something like that. I saw you in L.A. That was the last time I saw you, I think. And the fact that I can even remember that is a good sign toward
Dodger Stadium or something?
Early Ferrallsheimers. I saw you somewhere in L.A.
You don't even live in L.A., do you?
Well, I did. I mean, I did for a decade. So it was, I think when I was living here, and that would probably put you in the window of, like 94 to 2000, somewhere in that window. I lived here for a decade, but I think it was I saw you right around in that window. I think I was still at Westwood One. It may have been at the Super Bowl in
San Francisco.
No, in San Diego when it was the Broncos and Packers.
I was definitely at that game.
But then that was it. That was when I saw you. I saw you somewhere either in L.A., in downtown L.A., or down there.
Well,
it's one of the two.
I guess for people in the industry, JT the Brick's a buddy of mine.
Right.
And different
I saw him today.
Voices. Mad Dog sitting 40 feet away with a voice,
Right.
Like, people say this to me in Baltimore, though. I'll come up behind them.
My voice is a lot ballsier than his. I mean, more balls.
No doubt about it. I don't – but your voice is so distinct – that
my voice is grating, and I mean, like,
does it hurt to do that?
No, I mean, most people think that it's fake or something like that.
No, this is who you are.
You can't do that 24 hours a day. You'd drop dead. But people try to imitate me, and they can't do it for an hour.
Where did you grow up? What is your diction?
I grew up in Pittsburgh, so it's
oh my God! Well, you escaped, obviously.
Yeah,
Get the hell out of there.
It's funny. I love it there, and it's probably like you love Baltimore. I love Pittsburgh. I think it's a great city, great people that'll do anything for you. Nice people, cool people, tough people. I live in New York City for 24 years, and the people there are asshats. I mean, people there are mean, nasty, vicious, pushy, shovey. I'm better than you. You'll get stepped on if you're not a badass there. If you don't hold your ground, you'll get run over. I mean, you will get eaten alive in New York City. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. It's the truest thing ever. It's not a friendly place. It's a stressful place. Pittsburgh's cool. I have season tickets to the Steelers, so I go back a lot and party and blow a lot. That's great. That's great. That thing when they do that song. In the fourth quarter of those games. It is sexual. It is great.
I know the guys in sticks, and they know how much it really pisses me off that got selected,
right.
But Tomlin is, I'm close to Mike, and so like.
I think he's great.
Yeah, I mean, we're at a point. Let's talk some sports here. Let's talk about hiring and talk about what's going on with the league. I mean, you've been in the Radio Row all these years. I mean, it's Podcast Row now.
Right.
It's not Radio Row as much, and your business has obviously changed. I mean,
right.
You're here with Sports Grid. I remember when gambling was taboo here, not a part of it.
They treated me like I was a heroin dealer.
Well, right, because you talked about it. You talked point spreads in the middle of the night on national radio. Right. You might as well have, did what Jimmy the Greek did.
I mean, they treated me like I was a pedophile. Like when I talk gambling, and I've done it my whole career. I did the show at Bally's for a year. I did the show at the Mandalay Bay for a year. Lived there, did it. They built that studio for me in the sports book. I was talking spreads before anybody, frankly, in the business, and I've done it ever since. When I left CBS to go to Sports Grid, I went there because of two reasons. One, money. Two, they let me talk gambling. It's a 24-hour sports network that does gambling. That's all they talk about. We talk about betting. That's it.
Are the 900 numbers out of business because of this to some degree?
I don't even know anything about.
There's so much available information, and there's so many John Harbaughs that are distracting from injuries and HIPAA and like all the things that would set lines and move lines and information, insider. What do you know, Ferrall? You got some inside information, like that. All of that now is out in the open here, and it's overt. Seeing the punter over here screaming F-bombs in the middle, screaming.
It's funny.
It's
funny.
It's amazing.
They, the league. I was given a directive that if I talk to anyone from the league or anyone that's an employee or a player, anybody at all has anything to do with the NFL Network, whatever it is, I cannot talk gambling with them. And then I find that hilarious considering they're making $2 billion a year off of it. The NFL is so deeply embedded now in sports betting, they just don't want to admit it.
What would you like to say about gambling in general, like over the course of years?
Roger Goodell is raking money off of sports betting, just like the states are. New York.
Well, Costa Rica was doing it with BetU. 20 years ago.
But it was illegal.
Every radio station you were on ran an ad, and then the FCC. I have an FCC license. I remember when we were getting advisories 20 years ago because people.
Right.
I'm sponsored by the Maryland Lottery. Scott Ferrall on the bench. What do you call yourself?
So I do.
You're not on the bench anymore.
Yeah, I am.
You're in the game.
I do Ferrall Coast to Coast on TV every day at 4 to 6 East nationally, and then I do Ferrall on the bench nationally at night from 10 to midnight.
It's still called Ferrall on the bench?
Ferrall on the bench, yeah.
I want to make sure somebody didn't own that.
No, I own it.
Right, because
it's really not that big of a deal.
Weird stuff happens.
I trademarked it when I worked at Westwood One back in the day.
Back when you were calling hockey games.
Eventually, I came back and did work with Westwood One when I was at CBS. I did a show called Ferrall on the Bets, but it only lasted 6 months because bottom line was it was the beginning of podcasting. And I started doing the show, and we were going to, bottom line, split the revenue. And let's just say it didn't work out that way. It didn't make money where we were getting our end and they were getting their end. And I just said, I'm not doing this for free. I'm too old. I'm too old to do anything for free. Because I've done this now for 35 years, and I do it to put my kids through college and to retire and have money. I don't do it for any other reason.
But it's changed.
I'd already be done doing it. I've done it longer than anybody.
Well, you took phone calls from people 25. So did I.
I love doing it, but I also, I'm like anybody else. I have responsibilities, mortgages. I got to put kids through school, things like that. I was lucky. I played sports. I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to pay for school. I didn't have to have mommy and daddy pay for me to go to school, things like that. But I kind of want to do that for my kids. So they're going to go to college. They're in high school now, and that's why I still do it. When I worked for Howard Stern for 8 years, Howard was always talking about retiring, and I love Howard like no other, and I worship him. He taught me a lot. And I look up to him. I really do. And he used to talk all the time about retiring, but he's still doing it, right?
Well, he loves it.
When I talk about retiring, I mean it. I'm going to stop doing it one of these days. And it's because I want to do it till I can put my kids through school, and then I'll have done it for 45 years in a row. And I want to go surfing. I want to smoke weed. I want to have sex. I want to eat good restaurants. I want to travel the world. I don't want to do it every night of my life till I'm 80. I know a lot of guys that do it till they're 70, 75, 80 years old. That's just not me. Dude, you have long hair. You look like you should be surfing with me right now in Malibu.
I'm going to go surfing.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. I don't don't want to be here. I'd rather be surfing.
I'll get down to Huntington Beach with you right now.
I'd rather be surfing. Simple. It's real simple.
Scott Ferrall is here. I wanted to ask you, all the changes in media and what we do and gambling.
Right.
Tell me about Sports Grid and just not the elevator speech, but just why people would listen. And I was going to tell you this. I'm wearing my Maryland Lottery mask. We're going to get back to the crowd cake tour with guys like this soon enough. We'll be at Nacho Mama's and Mama's on the Half Shell March 4th. So I went down to the casino 2-3 weeks ago.
Right.
The weekend of the great games, the divisional weekend. The games were unbelievable.
Right.
I went down there before they started the first game, the Tennessee game, and there was a line that long and a line that long, and we got sports gambling in Maryland 5 weeks ago.
Right.
Literally 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, right?
I knew that.
So I went down there to sniff it, smell it. I went down to Maryland Live down at Arundel Mills, and I saw all these people, black people, white people, women, men, old, young, all of that. It looked like Vegas, right? You're in there, and they're in line as a sports book and all that. And I'm 15 minutes from my house, and I don't have to fly to Vegas anymore. But the one thing I saw in line, people with their credit cards out of money, They want to bet. They want to bet on sports.
Of course
People
they do.
want to do this.
Of course.
And, like, for you, look, I took calls in the 90s when we didn't have the Ravens. I did Friday pigskin pick'ems. We did fax machines.
Right.
3,000 people would send faxes to win a $100 gift card at Ruth's Chris or whatever. People want to gamble on.
Of course they do. Well, back when I did it, when I started doing it nationally on Ferrall on a Bench in like 250 markets, and every Friday night I would give out all the college and pro plays, money lines and spreads, and people would sit there with a pen and they would write down all my picks because, nowadays, fast forward all these years later, 25 years later, the same people, all they have to do is watch me on TV or the show's taped and podcast.
Are you a gambler? Have you always been a gambler?
Of course. So people watch.
But you consider that professionally? You consider you've made more money in your lifetime gambling than losing it?
Well, so it's pretty simple. I've had FerrallOnTheBench.com for over 20 years now where people buy my picks. Like some people say, well, you're a tout, you're a hack, you're all this, a scam decapper, all this other stuff. Here's the deal. I sell my picks for like a tank of gas, and you spend more on gas and on weed than you do my picks. And people that pay for my picks are $35 a month to get every pick, every play, every day, always, every game, every sport, and they're ranked and everything else. And I've had thousands of members, and they never churn. They never leave because all I do is make them money. So from the beginning of the month to the end of the month, I've never once had a losing month for anybody for that dollar valuation. So for what I give you, like the other night I went 27-3 in college basketball. There's no one that can do that consistently and not make money. I think gambling is dangerous. I think it's a very hard thing to do. I think it's if you don't know what you're doing, you will lose. You will lose a lot of money. You can lose everything. I know people that make millions of dollars off of it for a living. That's all they do. They're sharps. They're heavies. I know a kid that's 24 years old that's making $2-3 million a year doing it. That's all he does is bet on sports. That's his living. That's his primary purpose on earth. And then the rest of the day he plays basketball. He's a great bettor. He's incredible. He's amazing. I also know people that bet and lose everything. Their paycheck. They get divorced. They end up in meetings. They end up drinking themselves to death, whatever. But look, I have done this forever. So the difference is that now people can watch me on TV every day do the picks. And I do them on TV. I give them out the same picks that I sell, I give for free on TV. So if you want to get my picks without paying, you just watch the show. And millions of people watch the show, tape it, watch it in replay, watch it on a podcast. We have a video podcast. You can just watch it over. And then it's on Sirius 159 every day. When it's live on the radio too. When I do the radio show at night, it's on Sirius. It's on hundreds of affiliates on radio terrestrial networks. And then it's on in San Diego on Mighty or 1090. It's everywhere, and it's unavoidable, and it's easy. And I get paid to give the picks out. So I'm on a gambling network. They're like, you're going to give your picks out whether you like it or not, and you're going to do it on our air. So like when I cut the deal, they're like, you're going to give picks every day. We don't care about your website because they knew I had a business. Now the business, I will tell you, is just kind of for this. I have 5 employees I've had for 20 years. I take care of all of them. It's like a side hustle for them to like help their families, help them pay their bills, help them maybe go on vacation once or twice a year. Same for me. Like I use the money to go on vacation a couple times, go surfing in La Jolla, whatever. And, other than that, it's not like I'm drowning in money doing it.
I used to make
a lot of money doing it, and now I don't because I'm on TV giving them out free. It hurt my business. But I don't care. I do it because I'm loyal to fans that like to bet. And I've always liked betting. I've always liked sports betting. I don't play blackjack. I don't play poker. I don't play craps. I don't do anything. I don't do roulette. I go to casinos a lot to do my show in Vegas, as you know. But I don't do anything. I bet on sports. That's it. That's all I do. And I'm good at it. I'm good at betting on sports. In fact,
you bet on baseball?
That's why I'm on this network, because I hit winners.
You bet on baseball?
I bet on everything.
Well, to me it's interesting because, like, all the years of baseball with the Orioles, my name's Aparicio, 31 years of doing this with baseball.
Right.
Never really met anybody that tells me they're sharp at baseball and make a lot of money on baseball or get value on pitching matchups that don't exist anymore. But the amazing part for me is, look, it's one thing for the NFL to be in bed with all of this and to be involved. Everybody I've ever known has bet on the NFL, right?
To bet on.
But baseball is one of those things that they're trying now as part of the broadcast to get you interested in betting on, will the next pitch be a ball or a strike?
Or the first 5 innings.
Right. They want to make it pitch to pitch. And I'm wondering how they're even going to adjudicate that on a betting, aspect where when we used to go to the horse track, the window would shut on your fingers, right? Literally, the bell would ring, boom.
You're done.
You're done.
Well, baseball's, you would be surprised how many people bet on baseball. I mean, it is sickening. It is sickening. I don't like betting on baseball, but I bet on, I bet on it, and I put out baseball plays every day. A lot of people I know bet on, props and on first 5 innings and on guys having, prop bets on how many, can they get this many hits? Can they hit a home run? Who's going to have the first hit in the game? Things like this. Millions of props. Millions of baseball bettors. There's millions of them, and
but
they
this
bet
is a
every day.
specified thing. It's
That's all they
sports
have
grid.
in the summer.
Sports grid. I mean, we're not talking about home teams or matchups or how good Joe Burrow's hair looks. I mean,
none of that.
This is literally if you're betting on it. So give me a little.
It's a betting network.
Give me a
That's all they
betting
do.
thing at 4 points this week for this game here in LA, home team.
Right.
How Burrow's doing. How do you assess this
put it
game?
this way. Last week I bet on the Bengals to win outright, and I was getting the 7. And then I bet on the Niners in 3.5. And so I ended up hitting both spreads in the games. I hit the Niners under, the Niners spread. I thought Tart cost him the game. He catches that ball. I think they win the game. They go to the Super Bowl, but they didn't. It is what it is. I still hit the spread, and I hit the Bengals outright to win on the money line and the spread. Lost the Niners money line. And lost the over in the Chiefs-Bengals, which landed under. So, wild card weekend, I hit a ton of bets. Divisional round, hit a ton of bets. Hit both title game spreads. And now I'm going to the Super Bowl. I think the kid's better than Stafford. I think the Bengals have more damaging players that can do things in that game. Higgins, Chase, Boyd, the big tight end. I don't think that Azuma, whatever you call him, I think his knee won't hold up. He won't take a hit.
Rams defense has a lot of hype. Donald, Ramsey.
There's no doubt they're good.
They
didn't get here because they suck. So they can win the game. The Rams can win the game. I mean, I'm not
They're
stupid.
favored to win the game.
Well, I'm sure. I'm not stupid. They can win the game. But, I think the Bengals are a better team.
And it's allegedly a home game. Allegedly.
I don't even care. I'm a Steeler fan. I hate both of them.
I'm a Raven fan. So,
and you're a Raven fan, so I hate you.
So we're angry. We're
But
sitting here looking.
I went to
Do you
that
think we
Ravens-
were going to
I
sit
went to
here
that
and look at
Ravens
Bengals
Steelers
helmet
game.
up here? Seriously.
But no, but I've seen it twice before, and so have you, and they lost both times to Montana. So here's the deal. I went to that Steeler-Raven game. It was great in Pittsburgh at the end of the season. And the game they played against the Titans, that was great. I couldn't believe they beat them. I couldn't believe they made the playoffs. They should have never made the playoffs, the Steelers, because they sucked. But they did. They made it. And then Ben retired and this and that. And I'm glad you're friends with Tom, and I think he's done a great job there. Never had a losing season in 15 years. I love being a Steeler season ticket holder. When my dad died, I got that seat license, and I've kept the tickets, and I'm going to pass them down to my son and keep them forever because they're like gold. They're like, I'm sure like Ravens tickets. To me, they're gold. The Steelers, when you win 6 Super Bowls, that's gold.
Here we go.
I like them. You know what I mean? So
Pittsburgh going to the Super. That's old school.
it is.
I had Bettis on 2 weeks ago.
But, it's weird. Like, I passed some fans in the hallway, and I said, here we go, and they didn't even look at me. So they're like.
It's old school.
But they're amateurs. If you yell, here we go, to any Steeler fan from the 70s, 80s, whatever, you're going to get them to turn their neck.
I've never heard the voice of Myron Cope.
Right.
What a terrible towel.
He was one of my
Tell him, Ferrall. Tell him what the towel
that guy,
represents. Tell
did-
him what the towel represents.
He did sports talk before anybody.
Oh, no doubt.
Great writer, too. Better writer than sports talk host.
Well, if you don't know his voice, it's Ferrall. Scott Ferrall on the bench. He's now with Sports Grid, giving out picks. I knew we would talk gambling with you, man. I thought you were living on the residuals from the Atlanta Thrashers gig, man.
I did it for a year. I loved it, and I partied hard with the players.
Do you
lived
know?
large.
I'm jealous of that. I mean, like of all the ish you've ever gotten away with,
Right.
Calling hockey for a year. I called hockey with Kenny Albert, calling Baltimore skipjack games. So
Right.
we have something in common.
Yeah.
Both of our teams are defunct.
Kenny's doing a lot of stuff. He's a busy man. I like doing hockey play-by-play. I didn't like the monotony of it, to be honest
It's
with you.
very play-by-play is really difficult to do.
I just found the sameness of it every day bored me.
I don't think I had the skill set.
I had to wear a sport coat and the blazer and I had to eat the same food, same time, prep morning skate, game day, on the bus at this time, on the plane at this time.
Hockey life is a bitch, isn't it?
Sit in the
it's
same
all
seat.
in.
I hate it.
The hockey life is all in.
And then when you go to eat with them, when you're eating with them, all they talk about is hockey. So you have breakfast, they talk hockey. Lunch, they talk hockey. Dinner, they talk hockey. That's all they know. That's all they do. I'm over there like talking porno with them, anything to make it more entertaining. And then they said I couldn't do this, couldn't do that, couldn't fraternize with the players, couldn't go out with them, couldn't stay with them, couldn't drink with them, couldn't eat with them. I did all the above. I broke every rule.
Who was your favorite Thrasher?
I used to walk into the press box with a giant beer. They said, you can't drink in here. I said, I have to drink. We haven't won in a month.
Right.
They sucked so bad. I hate it. Listen, I always tell the truth about the job. I partied my ass off, and they didn't like it, and they fired me, and they paid me every day for 4 years. I did 1 year. It's the best job I ever had. I got paid for 4 years, and I worked for 1. Every 2 weeks, I got a check in the mail for 4 years. It was really one of the greatest deals I ever cut.
Well, it didn't work out well for them.
But no one ever said once, ever. No one ever said that I suck calling a hockey game. They always said that guy was entertaining as hell, and he was crazy. I did fake fights, for Christ's sakes.
I thought Seattle Kraken were going to call you. I really did.
I thought that the Smoke Kraken, I wish they suffered as much as the Thrashers. I think all expansion teams should have to suffer. I don't believe in what happened in Vegas.
What happened in Vegas? Well, I mean,
that was BS.
I'm a Caps guy, so that was a good night for me.
The Caps had a great rivalry with the Penguins and Ovi and Sid and great many years of great battles for sure. Like the team that kind of haunts me is the Islanders because they've beaten us so many times in the playoffs in the 70s.
My dude Trotz will come back and get you again.
You name it. He's done a great job. But
Hall of Famer, Barry Trotz.
It's amazing to me that they were a game away from the Stanley Cup Finals, and then and now they suck. And that's my producer right now.
He just
gave me the finger.
He's got to go.
Because I talk bad about his Islanders. And here, screw you too.
I love the Islanders. Trotz is going to win the cup.
I got to go. You see, they're
Scott
giving me
Ferrall.
the business.
Ferrall on the bench.
Nestor,
He's out of here.
I'm really worried about you,
Drop
dude.
the mic.
Do you really think I'm going to give you germs? You're giving me elbows, masks? Bro, like, I'm as pretty as a girl. So are you. What's the problem?
You triple vaxxed?
That shack's over. I'm triple vaxxed, boosted. They gave me a rectal swab before I got
I'm just trying to hide my face is what I'm trying to do.
It's good to see you, bro. I love you.
I'm taking care of the sponsors. Maryland Lottery. We're here at Radio Row. You just go. There he's gone. Scott Ferrall getting out of here like a forward on the third line. You can follow him. Sports Grid is the name of their outfit. They're behind us. They're the set that's here. We're on Radio Row. It's all brought to you by our friends at the Maryland Lottery, our friends at Wise Markets. I have more swag stuff here. Oh, I got a Chaucer. Go see Brian down. He's not even he's catching fish on a boat, catching sailfish. But I'll be in there and getting some nachos and some beer. Last time I was there, the Bengals won the AFC Championship game. So you never forget where you were when the Bengals won the AFC Championship game. I'm Nestor. We are on Radio Row. We'll be here all week. It's going to be a good time. There's going to be a football game at the end, I promise. Luke and I are talking some Ravens as well. I am masked and unmasked simultaneously. We're back for more from LA at Baltimore Positive.